You're in the right place at the right time, blasting out of the Mojave Desert like a Scirocco, blazing across the land, slamming into your radio like a supercharged nanoparticle of unobtainium. Greetings from the boldest, bawdiest, most outrageous city in the world, the planetary capital of sun, fun, sin, sex, and secrets. Hope you're all hunkered down in some air-conditioned comfort somewhere. It is a hellish nightmare. July in the desert. I think officially it's been in the 110s for 27 straight days here, an all-time record. And, in some microclimates and neighborhoods like mine, I've seen 121 degrees. I made the mistake this year trying to grow some tomatoes and peppers and grapes and a few other things. They're pretty much fried now. Pomegranate tree, lemon tree, hanging on for dear life. And I know, I picked this place to live. Oh, and it's monsoon season. Storm warnings are out tonight. Lightning, high winds, potential for torrential rains. Yeah, it's paradise. Back in the 1980s, when I first got hooked on the UFO subject, Las Vegas was sort of ground zero for conspiracies and UFO craziness. MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, held its first ever international symposium. First time MUFON staged the event, and it became kind of infamous. I didn't know what I was walking into. I should also note MUFON is back next weekend with a much different lineup of speakers. More on that later, but back in 1989, it was pretty wild. And it was the whole story about ufologists working as disinformation agents, working alongside government agents, all that Falcon and Condor and aviary stuff, also along with aliens are here to eat us or steal fetuses. All that came bubbling up to the surface at that conference. It had been percolating, picking up steam all through the 1980s, and then kaboom, it exploded here. And it took a while for me and for other people to sort of walk up that learning curve, to be able to recognize what it was that was unfolding. It is a steep curve, after all, and this audience knows that better than anyone. But looking back on it, it's kind of an overwhelming period, that 1980s, to be baptized in the canons and orthodoxy of ufology. One man who watched it, chronicled it, predicted it. And while UFOs are always going to be attached to his name, there is so much more that he's investigated, chased, tried to figure out, experienced. He's kept journals throughout his long journey through this murky subject, writing down tidbits and reflections and feelings every day or so for 50 years. We've interviewed him many times about different UFO books that he's written, about UFO cases, subjects. Tonight we dig down into some very personal memories, and we look at a time that is so directly reflected in what is unfolding now in the UFO world and beyond the UFO world. Disinformation plots, cabals, secrets, government spying on UFO people, putting out phony stories, the lack of rigorous standards, abductions, creature reports, an amazing amalgam of creature stories that go far beyond your standard ET or gray alien. So tonight, we dive deep into these journals, the stories, the cast of characters. We take you to one of the most beautiful places in the world. It's on the edge, turquoise ponds and waterfalls and breathtaking scenery. But it's a place that has a horror all of its own, and it's not for the faint-hearted. Among the stories in tonight's collection, one about some UFO files in New Zealand that you might want to know about. Another of the stories is about an outbreak of chronic wasting disease among deer in the Rocky Mountain states, and suffice to say, it does, and it's pretty dark. Check out the article. We'll return to the topic at some other point. Two other fairly grim assessments about the condition of our planet, plus a story for our time, how fake news goes viral. Someone has worked out a mathematical model for how it spreads so far and so wide so quickly. With that, folks, let's assume the position. Too hot outside for the dog and cat, so bring them in, maybe brew a pot of iced tea. Instead of coffee, it's got caffeine, right? Slip into your jammies, plop down in a comfy spot, turn down the lights, and turn up your radio. You're in the right place at the right time, blasting out of the Mojave Desert like a Scirocco, blazing across the land, slamming into your radio like a supercharged nanoparticle of unobtainium. Greetings from the boldest, bawdiest, most outrageous city in the world, the planetary capital of sun, fun, sin, sex, and secrets. Your occasional host, designated driver of the airwaves, and moderator of tonight's upcoming cacophonous cavalcade of conversation. I am coming to you once again from the air-conditioned, feline-infested comfort of the command bunker, and can say with confidence that tonight we will be delivering the goods. Dispatches from the front lines of ufology, secrecy, cover-ups, and cabals. This month is, of course, the 70th anniversary of the Roswell incident. No one's quite sure what crashed out there in the desert or exactly where or how many crashes there were, bodies or no bodies, but we're still arguing about it 70 years later. 50 years ago was the summer of love. Counterculture flourished, hippies walking around with flowers in their hair, Sgt. Pepper's album wafting in the air. I didn't mean for that to rhyme. One segment of society broke away from the mainstream, rejected its values. We are still dealing with that split, still fighting some of those battles over cultural divides, still learning as we go. We've tackled UFOs from just about every angle on the program, and many of the same issues and challenges that have always plagued ufology have come up again and again on this program. Shows that I have helmed in different guises, maybe using different terminology, but it's the same. The same values get tested, the same suspicions get aroused, and the same unidentified fingerprints are kind of detected at the scene of the crime, if you know what I mean. Big rumors spread like wildfire this weekend, started during the week and then grew. There were these internet stories that a UFO had crashed. Could have happened late Wednesday night, maybe it was Thursday. It starts picking up steam, and if it's not a UFO, then they speculated it was a black project, a secret plane or platform crashed. Men with machine guns sealed off the area, black helicopters flying over neighborhoods. People supposedly ordered to stay inside their homes. I started getting emails and messages on phone calls, then frantic appeals from people around the country. Hey, check this out. This is big. I jammed out there to take a look around. And what I found was a lot of rubberneckers, a lot of people getting out of their cars, walking around to see what they could see. And, there's teenagers who were parked up there enjoying the city lights. It's a great place to look at the valley, kind of making out. But no military crash retrieval effort, no crash site, no area sealed off by armed personnel. Story didn't check out. Coincidentally, while that rumor is flashing around, the Mutual UFO Network was gathering to hold its annual international symposium. And the theme this year was the secret space program. Do we, or some unknown group, have an entirely different space program, separate from NASA, using advanced technology that is not acknowledged, maybe advanced stuff that we developed on our own, or technology that was reverse engineered from crash sites? So a panel of speakers was assembled to kick it around, debate, and discuss whether it's true. And then beyond that level of discussion, there was another level of dialogue, another level entirely. Speakers for whom this subject is not a mystery, not a question, because they say they were part of it, part of the secret space program. They were assigned to the equivalent of like Starfleet. They zipped around the cosmos. They spent years on Mars, even traveled through time. And because of this time travel tech, the people in their own families never knew they were gone. 20 years on Mars went by in a flash. It's just like they went to the bathroom. That's the story. So the theme was, I think, probably a bit of a stretch for MUFON, and some of its members, I think, let them hear about it. It's a far from nuts and bolts flying saucers or stories about alien encounters or alien abductions. MUFON has been well regarded in the UFO field for a long time, but it's tough to keep an organization like this together for decades, basically forever, especially when people have so many other options for where they get their UFO information these days. And for the public, maybe this was a stretch, but of course, they want the public to be challenged and interested. They want people to attend and support MUFON. I thought we would get a report on what happened from one of the people directly involved, not only in the conference, but in the larger discussion that was underway about whether this topic, the secret space program, and UFOs, whether it's suffered because it's embraced tales which cannot be substantiated whatsoever, breakaway civilization, and the possibility that a secret space program may have been developed. Based on the article he wrote in advance of the MUFON event, it's clear that he was somewhat uncomfortable with some of the claims being made by persons who were, in effect, on the same stage as he, and about the grief he almost certainly is going to take because of that position. And while we're at it, I wanted to ask him about his most recent book, something he's included in recent lectures, disclosure. Not just sort of generic UFO disclosure, but disclosure in the age. Would the keepers of the secrets tell? And if they did, could he keep it to himself? What are the various scenarios there? Should be fun to get into that, and I'll try to carve out some time. So the last 15 years on a quest worthy of Quixote, he's collected what amounts to an encyclopedia of UFO cases from the UK and beyond. And this collection now amounts to 12 volumes, I think. Illustrated, documented, interviews with the witnesses, original news clips, an amazing collection of material, an enormous undertaking. The term herding cats comes to mind, which alleges the elite of the planet, billionaires and such, as sort of an escape plan, their own ideas of what they would do if doomsday is approaching. And, I think chances are pretty good that you and I won't have a seat on that particular lifeboat. Also, a new report from the Black Vault about the CIA's claims that half of all UFO reports from the 50s and 60s were caused by spy planes, CIA spy planes, and a story about how NASA was able to send back images of the moon landing, in case you're wondering, or if you think it was, staged out there in Area 51. Let's assume the position. Bring in the dog and cat inside the cool AC. Put on a strong pot of mud so you're amped for the long haul. Slip into those silky jammies and fuzzy loafers. Plop down in a comfy place. Turn down the lights and turn up the radio because we're about ready to rumble. In a moment, secret space program or not.